Next month marks 20 years since the murders of Nicole Brown and Ronald Goldman. I sat down with Simpson defense attorney Carl Douglas, who shared with me what went on behind the scenes for the next 16 months leading up to the not guilty verdict. In the late hours of June 12, 1994, Nicole Brown Simpson and her friend Ronald Goldman were stabbed to death outside Brown's West LA condo.
Mr. Simpson is a wanted murder suspect.
4 days after the murders, police issued a warrant for the arrest of Nicole Brown Simpson's ex-husband, football legend OJ Simpson.
We need to find him, we need to apprehend him, we need to bring him to justice.
The drama that unfolded would be national news.
I think I just saw OJ Simpson on the 5 freeway. He's heading north.
OJ Simpson in a white Bronco driven by his friend Al Cowling in a low-speed chase through Los Angeles.
OJ Simpson is a fugitive. Where is he?
The suspect is in the back of the vehicle, has a handgun.
As Simpson held a gun to his head in the back seat of the Bronco,
This letter.
good friend Robert Kardashian read a letter at a press conference that Simpson left behind.
I have nothing to do with Nicole's murder.
The lights are flashing and he is making a turn.
Simpson turned himself in later that afternoon.
He's in his driveway now.
The trial of the century would be next.
This is the only photograph of every member of the defense team. And Johnny said, "To my main man who always made me look good."
Carl Douglas was working with Johnny Cochran on the Michael Jackson trial when they formed Simpson's defense team, which would become known as the Dream Team. There's Robert Shapiro and F. Lee Bailey, and Douglas sat down with me to reflect as we approached the 20th anniversary of the case. The most recent thing we've heard from the opposition, Christopher Darden, making public comments that he believed that the glove that O.J. Simpson tried on was tampered with by Johnny Cochran or someone in his firm.
The defense manipulated that glove so that it did not appear to look as if it fit.
It really is unfortunate to me that Chris has been unable to get past this sordid chapter in his life. It is shameful and, quite frankly, embarrassing.
Hard feelings, still, after all these years.
He did not have the right to do what he did.
Douglas says both sides had a lot at stake.
In any high-profile, high-powered litigation, we are playing to win, both sides.
And Douglas admits all the attorneys were jockeying for any advantage they could get.
Wednesday nights and Saturday nights were conjugal visit nights.
I don't quite remember us talking about that as much.
And it was we called it Nookie Night. And we wanted to make sure that there would be highlights on Wednesdays and on Fridays by the off chance that some of the information may filter through to the jurors during their conjugal visits. It's not just something that slick defense lawyers did. The prosecutors did it too. They called theirs leaks, and no one would ever know the source.
From the infamous glove to tainted evidence, to Mark Furman and the race card, the trial would last 9 months. There were hundreds of pieces of evidence for the jury to go through, and it was the first day of deliberations.
This is a jury who has been sequestered for over 8.5 months now.
Douglas says the clerk had dropped off the verdict forms with the jury, and the buzzers had come just 8 minutes later.
You buzzed 3 times and indicated that after receiving the verdict forms that you have reached a verdict in this case. Is that correct, Madam Foreman?
And I knew just mechanically it would be impossible for 12 people to take 5 different votes and have those votes all be unanimous in an 8-minute time frame. I remember going back into the lockup and talking with Juice, we called him Juice, and telling Juice why I was just very certain that there was not going to be a guilty verdict.
The verdicts came on October 3rd, 1995.
We, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant Orenthal James Simpson not guilty of the crime of murder.
20 years after a jury found Simpson not guilty, we asked Douglas, does he believe in his client's innocence?
Now, I don't think he killed them, and I don't think the prosecution proved their case. And I think the police officers lied and cheated to convict someone whom they thought was guilty of murder.
Douglas says he doesn't argue with anyone who still questions Simpson's guilt or innocence. And as the anniversary of the case approaches,
2 people lost their lives far too early. And for that, we will pause and remember.
Now, we want to point out that Christopher Darden and Marcia Clark declined our request to be interviewed for the prosecution. Monday on CBS 2 News at 11, my interview with Kim Goldman. She talks about the brother she lost and the forgiveness she's never been able to find.